Welcome back, everyone, to the Cards of the Octagon YouTube channel. Today, I am so excited to introduce an absolute fan favorite, Jimmy the Brick Flick. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you, Jimmy, for coming on, man. It's going to be a great show. And like I said, thank you, man.
Hey man, I appreciate you having me on, get my name out there, letting people know. Yeah, I'm trying to chase down my own cards, man, trying to complete this rainbow.
Of course, dude. And that was actually going to lead into the first question. So, to get started, I always like to ask the guest if they collect UFC sports cards or if they collect sports cards in general. I personally already knew the answer to this, but if you're listening, Jimmy, do you collect your own cards or collect cards at all?
Um, to be honest, when I was a kid, we used to collect all the time. And then when I got into like the teenager age, I just gave it up. And then I got hit up one day and was like, "Hey man, you got a card on eBay?" I'm like, "I have a card on eBay." And they're like, "Yeah." And then yeah, I got into collecting. I started collecting other cards. I've almost completed the whole base set of the 2021 series. So I still got a few more to complete. I wasn't like in too hurry of it, but I didn't even know I had a rainbow. I didn't know how that worked. I didn't know there's like 21 different editions. I had to learn a lot, man. So it's pretty cool. And yeah, I collect. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so hate it or love it. I just am. And so I got some, Dallas Cowboy cards. I started joining breaks and stuff
Yeah.
occasionally. So, but that really all happened because I was on a UFC card.
Oh,
So,
that's awesome. Yeah. So that was going to be my second question. So obviously you were into collecting when you were younger, but then so you seeing your first rookie card is what you got back you what got you back into collecting?
oh yeah, most definitely. I had to learn how to do it, and that's the only reason right now I do not have my gold because when I got into this and found out, I was stupid enough to post it on Facebook as well. Like, holy crap, I got a card on eBay. So, like, hey, everybody, why don't you go bid me? Like, that was very smart. I paid $65 at one point for a base card
That's crazy.
because I didn't know what a base card was. I didn't
Yeah.
know the difference. And then I paid $100 for a blue out of 199. And then the guy was like, when he shipped it to me, he was like, "Are you really Jimmy Flick?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Well, if I send you another card, will you sign it? And I'll give you $50 back." And that was Fisher. He runs his own little card group. I can't remember the name, but it's Ethan and somebody else, man. Him and his brother.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, and then I started learning about it, man, and I had to learn the whole game and how it worked and entering breaks. And yeah, I spent a lot of money. And then a year after they came out, uh, they gave me Panny gave me like $2,000 for my rights.
Oh,
So
that's
that was
awesome, man. That's actually really good to know because I've always, and I think a lot of people in the card community are always wondering, like, since they are making cards of you, like, is there any royalties or anything like that that comes along with it? So that's awesome to know. Another question I have. So I know that you are collecting that rainbow of yourself, and obviously you said you got back into collecting because you're collecting yourself. But what's your favorite non-Jimmy Flick card in your collection? It could be UFC, it could be football, like you said, you collect Dallas Cowboys. What's your favorite non-Jimmy Flick card in your collection?
uh I have a my boy Justin Yeager, another guy that runs a group that I met. He I'm a big Dwayne Bane Ludwig fan. He was the
Okay.
first person to ever teach me how to throw a combo when I got into the sport. So I've always liked him. I got a little figurine that's signed by him,
That's
and then my
awesome.
buddy sent me a signed Dwayne Bane Ludwig card. But then I also have a Gerald Harris card, which is super cool too, because Gerald Harris is from Tulsa. He's the Slam King. You've seen him slam some people, hit them with the deuces.
Yeah.
So those are probably by far my two favorite cards.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So that's your favorite non-Jimmy Flick card. What is your favorite Jimmy Flick card in your collection?
Man, it's got to be the black one. You know, the
Yeah, for
only
sure.
one the only one. It took me months and months and months of negotiating. So when I was like 20 years old, I went down to Albuquerque, New Mexico, to train down there. Back when Cowboy had the Tap Out Ranch
Yeah.
in 2010, and I trained there. And I met all the fighters, and John Bones Jones signed a pair of shorts. I had
Oh,
Nate Mark, Clay Guida, Cowboy, Leonard, um, Joey Smoking Vincent, like I had like Nate, Keith Jardine. I had like 15 different fighters on it. And finally, I just had that, a bunch of other signed stuff from other fighters. And the guy finally traded me for my black 101. So
that's
that's
crazy, man.
the coolest card, man. I never thought, I'd have a UFC card and then a black 101. And then, right now I retired after that. So then I didn't get put in nothing else. They
Yeah,
took me out of Chronicles. They took me out of all the other ones. So, and then now nobody else can complete my rainbow but me,
that's
so
true. That's true.
that black 101 came into my favor. So I know I'll get the gold eventually, but it's been a madhouse trying to get it.
Yeah, for sure. And so you actually brought up two really good points that I wanted to talk about with you. So you said at one point you paid, what was it, $150 for the blue out of 199 and then $60 for a base. And then you finally got the one of one after trading a bunch of awesome memorabilia. I want to talk about your card market because I know you see it because you're always tracking down cards. I think it's really cool, and I want to see your insight on, like you said, you retired after your first fight, so it's your only card in any product. Have you realized like your cards are pretty expensive for what they are very quickly since you did retire, and it's like the rarity aspect of it?
Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. And I think that, I mean, I thought I was going to stay retired.
Yeah.
My life has changed, so much in the last couple of years. And I mean, I was planning to stay retired. And I think that's why the market was up pretty high. And then when I came back, it kind of helped. I wish I would have had a better performance,
Yeah.
so, but we'll be back hopefully soon. I'm trying to get back in April. And I think, yeah, I mean, it's hard to get my card right now. And eBay is like, that's what I tell everybody. Like, I have to buy them from eBay.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to have some authenticated. I signed 5 of them. I sent them over to a little grading company. They don't grade the cards, but what they do is they hit it with the authenticated slab, showing that it's authenticated by me and signed. So I'll be having those, and like I have my own merchandise, the brick,
Yes.
and brand myself, and so I try to buy these cards, sign them, sell them, promote myself, get my name out there. So we're just looking for that gold 10. I got lucky with the lucky 8. It only one hit eBay, and my boy Justin Yeager grabbed it for me. And we got that cheaper than any other card, really. I got it for like $50,
That's
man. So
crazy, man.
yeah, so at that time I wasn't back yet when we got it. So I was still retired. And then I think so I was kind of faded out. So we got lucky on that in the bidding auction.
For sure. Yeah. The market with your cards, especially, it's crazy because, like you said, you did the flying triangle that came out with your first rookie card. And then there was nothing after that because you did retire. So it's like the fluctuation of the market, especially with your cards, has been crazy. But now that you're back, they're going back up, which is awesome. And I love to see. So it just makes it, you saying that you're even trying to get the gold and it's hard just shows that your market is pretty strong as far as cards go.
Yeah, man. And one guy had it graded and won like 2 grand because it was graded. I'm like, come on, man. Like, and then go back to gold anyway. Like, I didn't know eBay.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that like you're supposed to put like your top price,
Yeah.
and to keep them from, sniping it at the end from you, and it automatically put it up there. So I'm sitting here just like, oh, he beat me. I'm gonna beat him. He beat me. I'm gonna beat him. And then next thing I know, it's like you lost and the gold, and I was like, no, like, and it was only like $75, dude.
Yeah,
And
for
then
sure.
somebody finally got in touch with this guy, and a lot of people know who he is. It's notorious MMA -77, whatever, Mister, like has to triple his money. And I was like, dude, I'll give you 150, man, for it. And he said no, that he had insight that I was gonna come back out of retirement. And like this guy had my Octagon 8. I mean, he sold it. I watched him sell it. He's had my gold. I mean, so he was, I don't know if he was trying to complete my rainbow as well. But he didn't have the black 101, and I already knew that,
Yeah.
but so, and I think he knew that. So with him knowing that, it makes the value go higher, you
Yeah.
know. and then he put it on for like $400, and then I think somebody got him to sell for like 275, 225. But I was like, at that time, I didn't have the money to go that high for it, and I
Yeah, for
didn't even
sure.
charge yet. I still needed a bunch, so I wasn't going to spend it. So
Yeah.
now I'm that gold. So hopefully somebody will work with me and we'll get it.
For sure. Yeah. The rainbowing process, it's cool that you know about the rainbowing because a lot of people still don't know about the whole rainbow process, but like it's extremely tedious to do because you got to search through eBay. You post on the Facebook groups to try to find them. And especially once you get down to like the gold to 10, the out of 8, and then the one of one is the hardest one because obviously, since it's one of one, you control the market. If you don't have it, you might not know if someone has it or if it's still in the product. So it's
Yeah.
kind of it's a big chase. So that you now that you have the one of one, at least it's kind of like some kind of security, and now you got to go for the gold.
Yeah. And
um,
it's whether I'm going to have to spend the money or not, to who
yeah,
I'm doing.
for sure. Another question I had for you. So, as collectors, we like to see the pictures on the cards, and that sometimes brings even more value to the cards. With your card, since you only have one card still, and it is in debut Prism, they use the flying triangle submission as your picture, which is so awesome. I wanted to ask, did you like that picture that they use, or do you wish they used a different like picture from that fight or something else?
Oh, no, most definitely. I think it sold me,
Yeah,
it worked. And, Cody's right there sniffing my nuts, and that doesn't stop running his mouth. So it's perfect. I even told him, I was like, I'll sign a card and send it to you if you need one, like, because he's mad because he's not on a card. Like, he hasn't,
that's true.
so like, he's got way more fights than me, but he's not on a card.
That's
So,
true, man. And it's awesome. Like to see you yourself on a card, it's got to be like the best feeling ever.
oh, yeah. Like you said, growing up as a kid, seeing cards and never once thought that. My first thought was like, I want to be on the UFC game, because I played the
Yeah,
UFC game so much. And, um, so that's what I'm working on next. Hopefully, like I said, I had a pretty crappy performance. Or like, a lot of stuff happened, but it is what it is. I'm ready to come back and get this next one and prove myself. And I want to be like the best jujitsu on the
for
UFC
sure.
game, especially
For
in the
sure.
flyweight. Throw up some flying triangles and armbar. So, yeah, that's what I want to be, man. I want to be on the UFC game now, especially since I have my own UFC card.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. So you did bring up, like we've been talking about this whole time, you're only in the Prism product right now. And obviously, since you retired after the debut, flying triangle submission, you weren't in any other product. But since you are opening other product, do you still open other products or no, just because you're not in the product?
Oh no, yeah, I still buy them. My daughters like opening them and stuff, and we try to, do some stuff here and there. With if I see them, I do it. And then, do you know anything about the plates though? Now that we're talking about, I just thought about like nobody. I seen somebody say something about plates, but then nobody's ever seen prism plates. I've never seen them.
Like the
You know,
printing plates?
yeah, the printing plates.
Okay, so the printing plates are one of ones, and so those are actually used to print the cards, but they
Mm-hmm.
only had those in Tops. So when Tops owned to like when they owned the UFC rights, that's when they would do the printing plates. So Panini actually doesn't have any printing plates in their products. So it's only Tops cards, which did you ever collect any Tops UFC cards?
I never did.
Yeah, the Topps UFC cards, they're definitely different than Panini. Panini has some on-card autos, which I think are awesome, and a lot of people covet those because they are on-card autographs, which Topps always used to do that. There are some Topps cards that have the sticker autos like Panini, but Topps did a bunch of different things than Panini, so that's where the printing plates come from.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I was thinking about that, and somebody told me about it, but I didn't know how it worked.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're one of ones, and then I think there's like 5 or 6 color variations. So it's like a black printing plate, cyan color printing plate, all the other colors that are in the variation set. So it's
Well,
super
never
cool.
worry about it. So cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. So you're missing the gold, but you've got everything else. I've seen that you've got a custom one too. Do you like custom cards?
I got two custom cards that are pretty dope, man. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy them, and I thought they're cool. They put a brick back wall, behind one, and then the other one, they, obviously Prism came out with the color blast. so I don't have a color blast. So he made me a color blast, So it's pretty dope, man.
Yeah,
So
that's
it actually
awesome.
great because that little thing, everybody's like, "Where'd you get it?" Like, it's at Michael's. I bought it at Michael's, and it so happened to have two extras, which were for my egg cards. So once I get that gold, it completes that whole thing. And like I said, I got a 10-year-old and a 5-year old, both girls. And that's why none of my cards are signed. They don't need them signed. I'm their father.
Yeah.
So for them to have in the future and what they do with it.
Yeah.
So
That's so awesome. Yeah, I love the collection. I've seen you post about it, and I'm like, man, we got to find that gold, dude. We got to find the gold.
yeah, there's a few of them. Like I said, we've had like three of them hit the market, like you said, and then those boxes. There's still probably some of them out there. People are holding on to them, so I know one's gonna pop up. Hopefully they put it in the auction because that's when it usually you don't spend too much. Sometimes they get up there, but like I had a one of the white sparkles pop up
Oh
and
yeah.
it went for like 150, almost 200, and then we have the lucky eight pop up and I get it for $50. And it's like, what the hell? Like, it's just, you never know who's watching eBay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and you being a fan favorite with your performances, obviously everybody wants your card. So it makes it even harder. It's just like the rarity of your cards just keep growing. You've got the flying triangle. You've only got one card. Obviously, you went into retirement after the flying triangle. So everybody wants Jimmy Flick cards. And now you're back. So now everybody wants them even more.
Right. Yeah. So, and I'm just looking to hopefully, go make a good performance later on and then, get on some other cards, man, and see what pictures they use.
Of
Maybe even
course.
something cooler.
Yeah, so have you gotten any word? I know you just came back, so obviously it's probably a little too early, but have you gotten any word on if you're going to be in any future product?
Oh, I did. I never know. They don't ever contact me. The only way I guess spiders would know is if they want the auto. Like
Yeah.
that's the like I said, I never knew I was in Penny or Prism. And like I said, until a year they were out, did I get paid for my rights. And they sent me my email telling me, here's your rights and how it works, but I couldn't fucking tell you. All I know is like, hey, pay me $2,000. I said I spent more than that. So yeah, I made something back. So it was pretty cool. And that was the only time I ever got paid from them. So it's probably for all the product they printed at one time. And, I imagine fighters that do the autos get contacted directly, and
Yeah.
they film and do that, maybe get a little extra for the autos. But it worked out good for me because then people hit me up like, will you sign them,
Yeah,
or I sign them and sell them, and stuff like that. Try to help myself out, entrepreneur. I do
of
this full.
course.
So
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I just want to say thank you again for the time, Jimmy. It's been a blast talking to you. I know the UFC card community is going to be super excited to hear from you and just the UFC community in general. I also loved hearing from you and getting all your insight. But also, I just want to let everybody know, please make sure to follow Jimmy on all his social media platforms at The Brick MMA and also check out his merchandise like he talked about earlier. He's wearing it right now, The Brick. He's
yeah,
got some awesome hoodies, shirts, and hats. You can find all of these. We're going to link them in the description for you guys so you can go check those out. But Jimmy, if there's any last things you want to tell the people out there, the listeners, let them know, my man.
yeah, and also like so on like my personal page on Facebook, I can't okay people no more. So I have a fan page. If you type in www.thebrickmma.com, it takes you straight there. You can type that in Google or the Facebook engine and takes you straight to my fan page where you can like my fan page. And yeah, my merchandise link is only up until Tuesday at midnight. After that, it'll be cut off because I have to have my merchandise for some gigs I'm doing. So I do all
Perfect.
kinds, speak to kids. I do commentating gigs and everything outside when I'm not fighting to try to keep bringing in the money. And, shout out to all my sponsors for the support, everybody that does buy merchandise. Sometimes I'll post it up on my social media if I have extra. So I appreciate it. Yeah, follow me on Instagram at the Brick MMA. I'm even on Twitter at Jimmy Flick. Not too active, but I'm there. So
Awesome. Yeah. And we'll link all your stuff in the description. Once again, this was Jimmy Flick with Cards of the Octagon. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
appreciate y'all. Thank you, man.